Welcome in. What's Right with Nick Wright, episode 261. I am so pumped. Week 1 is in the books. And there are a couple takeaways, but my initial immediate takeaway is kind of the best two teams from last year. They still kind of look like the best two teams. And if you're a Ravens fan, I think watching Sunday, you had to feel a little better about Thursday, because if you watch Sunday, you might have felt like all of these teams would just get rolled by the Chiefs. And we were right there. It really, now again, it's overreaction Monday, Tuesday in this league, but, and there's always some bad week 1 offensive football. This year it seemed to be somewhat extreme, but here's what I want to do today. So, you guys heard me mention the First and podcast a ton with Danny Parkins and Andrew Filipponi. They actually both were in here once as joint guests with me when they were in New York. Danny has left the pod because now he hosts Breakfast Ball mornings from 8 to 10 Eastern on FS1. But so that pod, by the way, is continuing with taking Danny Parkins' place. Is this public or not? Ooh, boy. Well, let me check real quick. It doesn't matter. If it's not public, you guys will find out in short order. I'm going to look real quick because there's an amazing new co-host for that podcast. Okay, yeah, it is public. Replacing Danny Parkins on First and Pod with Andrew Filipponi, future NFL Hall of Famer Patrick Peterson, star corner for a decade plus in the league, taking Danny's job. But here's the thing. The thing I loved about that podcast was they did every game every week. Their Sunday night or, basically week recap pod would touch on every single game. So I am going to steal that conceit from them, and we are going to go through all 16 week 1 games. Obviously, all 16 games will not get the same amount of time, but I want to touch on everything from week 1 in the NFL, and if you guys like it, that's kind of the concept that we'll do every single week. But first, here's what missed the cut. Mini Mahomes beat Shedeur Sanders, as I told you would happen, and it was less about him beating Shedeur than it was Nebraska bullying Colorado. Sinner and Sabalenka win the U.S. Open. That would have been 0 for 2 on my bingo card. And Aaron Rodgers, Enigma, the Netflix series announced. We now see Damonza. Damonza, how are you? You texted me last night. Aaron Rodgers plays football today. I text you midway through the game, kind of. How are you doing this morning? How did week 1 treat you, aside from the fact that, the teaser wasn't great, but we'll get to that on Thursday.
I'm doing amazingly. It was a good week 1 of football. Unfortunately, I was moving around a lot, so I caught what I could. Oh. But no, I saw some great stuff. I went out to Kansas City, unfortunately, the day after the game.
That's right. I forgot. Yeah. You said my mom, who lives in New York, and Damonza, who lives in LA, met in Kansas City, and Damonza saw friends and family. Did you see both my parents? Did you see my mom and my dad?
We had dinner at Peropo's and with Melinda. So with the whole gang was there.
Okay, that's awesome.
Was there, had some good food.
That's really cool. So you were traveling a bit, so you 100%. Saw some of the standalone games and what you could on Sunday. But that's fine because I wanted to do the lion's share of the talking today. Anyway, you did see last night. Last night, Niners 32, Jets 19. What do you think the story of that game last night was? Because to me, it's very clear what it was.
Aaron Rodgers, he was looking old out there. I got word from the producers that there were some similarities to him and Kirk Cousins. I didn't get to see much of that game. But I could tell when he flipped it off to Breece Hall, like the first 3 plays of the game, how it was going to kind of go. And when he needed to evade in the pocket, he couldn't really make sharp turns. It seemed like he had to make more of these curved routes.
Well,
he was getting frustrated very easily, very early as well.
So those were my 2 biggest takeaways. First of all, if you just look at the next gen stats as far as time to throw, Aaron Rodgers, third fastest of anybody in the league this weekend. Jaden Daniels, number 1, rookie making his first start. He was one read, get it out, and if he wasn't, he was running. And then Baker Mayfield, when that Bucs offense is cooking, boom, boom, throw, and they really did cook. Aaron Rodgers, third fastest, fourth fastest, Tua Tagovailoa, fifth fastest, Joe Burrow, another guy who people have a little, concerns about his health. Also, Aaron only threw to the left and only threw to Garrett Wilson or Breece Hall with a couple targets to Allen Lazard. And I agree with you entirely about the body language piece of it. The Allen Lazard drop on the first drive, you saw it. And then the Breece Hall fumble on the second drive, you saw it. And that, honestly, Aaron Rodgers' performance, despite that criticism, probably the highlight of the night for Jets fans. What happened to this great defense that I've been told about? Just wait. Just wait until the Jets get a quarterback. They might have the best defense in the NFL. You allowed the Niners, without their best skill position player, to score on 8 consecutive possessions. 8 possessions in a row, the Niners put points on the board. 2 touchdowns and 6 field goals. And you weren't able to generate any type of pass rush. One of the biggest winners from last night, other than Jordan Mason, probably Hassan Reddick, who had to come away from last night saying, you probably should pay me. You probably should go ahead and pay me. There was a weird Sauce Gardner moment in the first. Sauce was playing awesome.
Injury?
And
or
then
the kind of injury?
I don't know, man. They said he didn't have an injury. He said he got the wind knocked out of him. He missed, I think, 8 plays, and the Niners moved down the field. I don't know what that was.
I thought he tore that joint.
Benching didn't make sense.
The guy hit him really fast and hit him right in the shoulder, and he seemed to be kind of like grabbing at it when he was coming off. I thought he just got one of those.
Yes, but like a labrum thing or the thing that happened to you, but that wasn't it. He had no shoulder injury at all.
Right.
Yeah, he came back in, and when he was asked about it after the game, he said got the wind knocked out of him. But you're usually not out for that long. The Jets are still the Jets, guys. They had one awesome drive early in the game.
What are you reading that as?
And that was it.
It seems like you're reading that as something. Like the Sauce Gardner thing.
Sauce?
Like you think that there's something eerie.
I don't know. I don't know. It seemed like he was benched for a series, but that makes no sense.
Right.
But it also makes no sense for Lisa Salters to be told that Sauce Gardner, during the game, she reported it's not injury related. Well, so what are we doing? I don't understand. Like, again, maybe someone will report what it was. But that Jets defense got bullied for 3 hours last night. And that Jets offense looked like it was being designed by a guy who they didn't want as their offensive coordinator and quarterbacked by a guy who's the oldest quarterback in the league who's coming off a torn Achilles. The last time Aaron Rodgers threw for 300 yards, Dan Campbell had 0 career head coaching wins as the Lions head coach. Dan Campbell's entire tenure of success with the Lions has happened since Aaron Rodgers last threw for 300 yards. So I'm not overreacting to week 1. What I am doing is reacting to week 1 and the Jets confirming a lot of my concerns. And oh my God, these amazing weapons we have. Well, Mike Williams was on that list. He started the game and then didn't come, barely played. So the Dusty just texted me. This Sauce Gardner after the game said, it was a tackle that I made. I just had to get my wind back. I just had to shake back. When I felt like I was good, I went back on the field. Yeah, no, I appreciate you sending me the quote, Dusty, and I had seen that. It was just weird. That was a long absence for getting the wind knocked out of you.
I thought he was out of the game.
I mean, getting the wind knocked out of you is, and again, I'm not doubting Sauce. It was just weird. The Jets are just weird. And I'm going to show it on First Things First later today. But the Aaron Rodgers passing chart, it's just the left side of the field. So there's that side of it. I just think the Jets are once again going to be a 7-8 win team. I don't think they're well coached. I think people have way overrated how good Aaron is going to be. Now, people are going to say, oh, some of those throws. Guys, I remember being a kid watching Dan Marino on the set of the CBS pregame show. And sometimes Dan Marino is, in his late 40s, maybe late 40s at the time, well removed from football. He also tore his Achilles, oddly. And sometimes they would go to a fake football field or outside or whatever, and they'd throw the football around. And holy shit, man, Dan Marino, even at 50 years old, could sling it. Tight spiral, hurt the guy's hands, perfect accuracy. Aaron is going to be able to throw the ball forever. That's not even the majority of quarterbacking. So people are like, oh, but look at this throw to Garrett Wilson on the sidelines. He'll be able to do that forever. Aaron Rodgers will be able to win the old school quarterback competition where you dip the football in paint, there's targets with bullseyes moving around on the field, and you try to hit them forever. But if he can't move, and if you don't trust yourself to be able to escape, it's not going, and your offensive coordinator can't scheme stuff up for you, could be tough. Now on the other side of it, all right, the Niners looked awesome. Jordan Mason, the young running back, was great. And I know people want to hear it. Yeah. I thought Brock Purdy played pretty damn well. I know the numbers were pedestrian, but this is where I don't really care about the numbers. I thought that this was more impressive of a quarterbacking performance from Brock than some of his 3 touchdown, 0 interception, 130 quarterback rating games. I thought there was one drive he was shaky. The very beginning of the game was a little shaky, and one drive, I think third quarter, he was shaky. Other than that, he didn't miss a whole hell of a lot of passes. He had some really good passes. Ayuk didn't do him a favor on that end zone drop, and I thought he was really good. Now, I tweeted this, and this is the question I want to ask Damonza before we move on to the next game. When Jordan Mason was out there crushing, I said, by the Brock Purdy corollary, everyone must now believe Jordan Mason is a top 5 back in football. So, if I were to go on TV and say, holy moly, Jordan Mason, guy's a superstar. Look at what he did. I think people would push back and say, well, it's the Shanahan system. It's you know what I mean? We've seen a lot of guys in that system, his dad's system and his, at that position have success. And I would say, yeah, that is exactly correct. Now, whether or not those same people want to allow me to do similar math like that on Purdy is, I guess, their call. But I thought he was excellent. I thought the Niners' defense was excellent. And I think this was a great weekend for San Francisco because, sadly, the Rams, we'll deal with them later, had a lot of injuries and lost a game. The Niners got through this game mostly unscathed and looked awesome. So that was my takeaway from last night's game.
He said that he said that he knew that he was going to be the starter on Friday. So do you think that the 49ers were obligated to come out and say something? Is that kind of weird?
Well, so that would be a rules violation. It'd be lying about the injury report. Kyle Shanahan was asked about it after the game, and he said, I definitively did not tell Jordan that. I told him to be ready for a lot of action. He said maybe one of his position coaches told him that to gas him up, but we didn't know until earlier today that Christian was definitively out. I actually believe Kyle Shanahan here. You can say that's naive, but the reason I believe Kyle Shanahan is because if Jordan knew it on Friday, Vegas would have found out before the team released it. And you could get Jordan Mason over 13 rushing yards Monday at 4 p.m. So I don't think that the Niners knew McCaffrey was. I know. I don't think that the Niners knew McCaffrey was out Friday night. I don't. I think that news would have trickled out into the betting markets. And so I actually, yes, it would be a huge violation. Lying on the injury report's a big deal. And lying that, you call a guy questionable when he's really doubtful, those types of things, not much you can do about. But if you know 3 days before the game that this player is out and you don't have him listed as doubtful, that would be a big deal. But I actually believe him. All right, now let's get to, come on.
KC.
I mean, the game of the week. Yeah, let's get to it. Kansas City 27, Damonza's beloved Ravens 20. So I'm gonna go first, and then you go, Damonza. And I obviously talked about this a lot on TV, and now it's like 5 days old, so I'll actually be oddly quick here. Thursday night games are not perfect for our podcast to discuss because we're not on, till Tuesday morning. But the Chiefs looked far and away like the best team in the league. And the Niners the Niners played so well yesterday, they maybe have a similar claim, but the Chiefs did whatever they wanted and didn't even play close to a perfect game, didn't have Hollywood, and Kelsey didn't do much, and it was against a Baltimore team that was peak motivation, and you could tell because of how Lamar played in that game, and Kansas City controlled every second of that game. And if people want to say, oh yeah, but listen, Baltimore did almost have a chance to steal the game. That did happen, but for the Chiefs to play that efficiently and well, despite Mahomes having like a B-minus level Mahomes game and a truly awful turnover that you never see out of him, I think bodes really well for the Chiefs moving forward this season. Damonza, your thoughts on that game, most notably from the Ravens' perspective?
Well, I don't think the Chiefs were able to do whatever they wanted. I think the Baltimore defense did a very good job at giving Lamar Jackson the offense chances to go and take the lead and get back in the game. Just didn't do it. And you would think with penalties being such a big part negatively in the AFC Championship game last year that they wouldn't have came out and gotten 20 penalties in the first game. I think that they did do whatever it took, to get in the game, which meant Lamar is going to freaking take it up the field every single time. I don't love that, but, I mean, if that's what we got to do, we got to do. I wouldn't say that he was scared of throwing the ball. I don't think his O-line was really giving him a chance in the beginning of the game. I think when there were guys open, he found them. Obviously, you hate the Zay Flowers missed touchdown pass. That was kind of bad.
That was a tough one. Well, yeah. So a couple things. So first of all, on the penalty side of it, at some point you are who you are, and the Ravens are a somewhat immature team. And Isaiah Likely after the game with his nonsense of, that'll be the worst we play all year. We'll see how they look in the playoffs. You'll see how the two-time defending champs look in the playoffs. They're probably going to look pretty good, buddy. And Roquan Smith with his Patrick flopped, and I've got something for 88. I think the Ravens are a somewhat emotionally immature team. I thought Lamar played this game, Damonza, like a psychopath. I thought he was trying to initiate contact. It's one thing to have Lamar be like, you know what? We've got, this is such a huge game. I'm going to run the ball. But there were plenty of times he could have gone out of bounds. And he lowered his shoulder to not even get extra yards.
He's doing somersaults into tackles.
There were plenty of times he had already picked up the first down and could have slid and took the punishment. And now, and I don't know if you saw it, he missed practice yesterday. Quote, a little sore is what the reporting is. Now, when I heard he missed practice, I assumed, you know what I assumed.
He was sick.
Lamar had the flu for the 38th time as a professional athlete. But they're saying he's a little sore. I just thought that game, for good or for bad, Damonza, was the full Lamar Jackson viewing experience. Some runs that are just so frustrating if you're the defense. Some missed layups and missed deep throws. A couple, holy crap, how did he get out of it? And then great passes. And then, Baltimore's in the game late with a chance to steal it. I didn't think Lamar played well. I thought Lamar played exciting. But I thought he had some great plays.
He was
electric. But he's got to be better. If they're going to beat Kansas City in a big spot, all his completions can't be. He had 16 passes, Damonza, at or behind the line of scrimmage. And the Chiefs clearly were not scared of getting beat over the top. Now, Likely's really good, and credit to him. I thought he had an awesome game, and it's a shame for him that, he missed the potential touchdown at the end.
Biggest piece.
But as you mentioned, the Likely piece doesn't happen if Lamar makes a better play to Zay. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
And then after the game, he said, I wasn't even going for Zay. All right, but that game's 5 days ago at this point, so we can move on. So we'll do all the standalone games in the A block, then we'll rapid fire through the others. Philly, Green Bay. So some good news on Jordan Love. They're not putting him on the IR, which means they think there's a chance he misses less than 4 games. So that's kind of best case scenario for them, that he could potentially only miss 3 games. I still would anticipate that he misses 4. Bad news, Damonza, is this part of it. I didn't think he looked sharp. 17 of 34. I thought that they left some meat on the bone and kind of let Philly get away with one. Because, and this is where Eagles fans are going to be furious with me, but I don't really care. Saquon was awesome. And, right now, my Saquon take is trending to wrong. So we'll see how it goes at the end of the year. He was great. Jalen Hurts was bad in this game. He had 3 turnovers, could have had 5. The defense looks like the defense from last year, and they immediately missed Jason Kelce. The tush-push failed. They had bad snaps. If I'm an Eagles fan, I am not. My concerns about this team heading into the year about how they're going to deal with the departure of Kelce, about how the defense is going to look, and is Jalen Hurts going to get over his turnover problem from last year? None of those are answered. Now, A.J. Brown's awesome, and Kellen Moore seemed to be able to use Devontae Smith more creatively than they were last year. And Saquon, I can't say enough about how good Saquon was. But I tweeted during the game, and I will reiterate it, that I picked both of these teams, the Packers and the Eagles, to finish 3rd in their divisions and miss the playoffs. And I feel fine about both of those predictions right now. I don't think Philly's very good, despite the win. And I think that there is going to be way too much smoke on the Eagles against the Falcons at home. Kirk Cousins, after that awful performance on Monday Night Football, and we can talk about that on the gambling show. For the Packers, I said this on TV when it happened, and I'll say it again here. I think going into the season with the only other quarterback on your roster being Malik Willis was negligent. And you obviously don't want Jordan Love to get hurt, but Malik Willis, God love him, is not an NFL quarterback. In his career, he has 0 touchdowns, 3 picks, a rating of 48. He's never been able to click in. Now, again, he's only thrown 67 passes, and if people want to say he's going to be better with Matt LaFleur, I could buy that long term. Get him in the building for a year, get him in the meetings, get him on the practice field. For him to have to play right now is disastrous. And if I'm Green Bay, I am seriously considering calling Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah,
and being like, hey,
shop
man.
For somebody?
Yeah, I mean, I would consider calling Ryan Tannehill and being like, hey, can you play a couple games for us? Week 3 at your old team, the Titans. You want to play that game? Week 4 at home against Minnesota. And then, if Jordan's not back, week 5 against the Rams. Because I think the Packers, listen, I wasn't as high on the Packers as, correct. Right. I wasn't as high on the Packers as others going into the year. But let's say I was wrong. Let's say all the people that really believed in them were right. You can survive a month without your quarterback if you go 1-3. You can survive 1-3. You certainly can. You're fine at 2-2. You can't survive 0-4. And I just don't know who you're beating. Now, again, if you don't sign another guy and it's Malik Willis versus Will Levis, in week 3, I mean, that's an all-time bad quarterback matchup. Hey. Malik Willis used to play, back up Will Levis. So maybe you can win that game either way. But the tough part of your schedule, if you're the Packers, starts in mid-October. Mid-October, here's what it is. Texans, Jags, Lions, Bears, Niners, Dolphins, Lions, Seahawks, Saints, Vikings, Bears. So that middle kind of 2/5 of your schedule, you need to have, you can't be 3-6 going into that. You just can't. So that's my takeaway there. And then we'll go to Sunday Night Football. Lions, Rams. This was a weird one because the Lions had full control. Then the Rams took back control. Then the Lions had a chance to win it in regulation. This was a gambling death knell. I have the Rams plus 4.5. On this show, it was 3.5. But on TV and in the actual bet I made was plus 4.5. The Lions are down 3 with the ball inside the 20 with a minute left. And I'm like, okay. When they get the ball, I'm like, okay, just either 0 points or a touchdown. 0 points or a touchdown. Just not overtime. Just not overtime. It, of course, goes to overtime. When it goes to overtime, I'm like, all right, just let the Rams get the ball first. If the Rams get the ball first, they score a touchdown, the game's over. They kick a field goal, I'm not going to lose by 5. They turn the ball over or punt, Detroit will just kick a field goal to win it. Detroit gets the ball first. Okay, anything but a touchdown, and then Detroit just down the Rams' throat, runs the ball. Basically every play. I thought the Rams played valiantly given all their injuries, but those injuries are going to really hurt them. Steve Avila, their great young guard, is out a month. Puka Nacua, out a month. Their backup left tackle got injured, and their third-string left tackle was in rough shape during this game. So that was a damaging game for the Rams. For the Lions, there were a few yikes from Jared Goff. A few uh-oh. moments from Goff. But aside from that, you have to love how they played. They were tough. They knew what they wanted to do. They ran the ball when they wanted to. And that's a great win for them. It's a great win for them in a game they easily could have lost. And if you ask me, the biggest winners as far as Super Bowl chances from week 1 have to be the Lions and the Niners. Because the Niners saw their biggest division competition lose a game they could have won in week 1 in the Rams and have a bunch of injuries. And the Lions saw their biggest division competition, according to Vegas, in the Packers, lose a game they could have won and have their quarterback go down. And so, so those two teams had really, really good weekends as far as their ability to win their games, their biggest competition, not being able to win theirs. All right, those were the 4 standalone games. We have 12 other games to get to. I'm going to try to do 2 minutes a game, get through them in 24 minutes. We'll see if I can do it. That's next. What's right? Hey guys, looking for your next favorite tequila? Terramana is a premium small batch tequila founded by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Each bottle of Terramana is meticulously crafted from 100% fully mature agave, slow roasted in traditional brick ovens, and distilled in handmade copper pot stills. Try Terramana today in the People's Margarita, a deliciously refreshing drink made with Terramana Blanco, lime, agave nectar, and pineapple juice. Terramana is also the perfect pairing when inviting friends and family around to watch sports and celebrate the big games together. For more information, visit Terramana.com and follow on social media at Terramana. Must be 21 years or older. Please enjoy responsibly. Terramana Small Batch Tequila, 40% alcohol by volume, imported by Siete Buck Spirits, White Plains, New York. All right, Damonza, here we go. You tee up which game we're going to be talking about, and I'll take it from there, and, you chime in accordingly. But I think I know which game they're going to make me start with, but go ahead. What's the first one?
It's time for Trash Hour. Miami 20 to Jacksonville 17. Yeah.
Okay, so listen, obviously the big news out of this game was not actually out of this game. And you know what? Real quick, producers, I'm going to give you something on the fly. I apologize. Can you guys put a 2-minute clock on that resets for each game? And I'll see if I can actually do this. These dozen games, 2 minutes each. The real story out of this game was what happened with Tyreek Hill before the game. I think I'm going to do a lot on that on Thursday. I think on Thursday I'm going to do the gambling show and then that. I don't want to do that that is such a multi-layered thing. And so I don't even want to do it right now. What I do want to do is talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars inventing ways to lose once again. So people can blame Trevor if they want. Trevor played fine. He had one of the prettiest passes anyone had all Sunday. That touchdown, kind of layered in the back of the end zone. He also had another one that would have been a touchdown. There was pass interference in the end zone, still hit the guy in the stomach, and they ended up getting a touchdown out of it. But there's up 17-7, late third. Miami's done nothing. Travis Etienne, is walking into the end zone. And a perfect peanut punch by Javon Holland. And this is the sequence of events. It's about to be Jags 24-7. And these are the next plays. It is Etienne fumble, Tyreek Hill 80-yard touchdown, fumble on the kickoff by Jacksonville that they recover, and then 3 plays later, Doug Peterson goes for a 4th and 1 running back sweep on his own 30, and all of a sudden, it's a tie game. Or it's basically. The Dolphins ended up missing that field goal oddly. But they ended up coming back to win. The Jags have to learn how to win football games. The Dolphins were dead in the water, and you fumble going into the end zone. All of a sudden, the Dolphins have this rallying moment given what happened to Tyreek and his teammates before the game. The Jags have a devastating loss, and once again, the Jags start the season behind the 8 ball. Now, luckily, they have the Browns next week. More on them in a moment. Damonza, next game.
We got Chicago 24 to Tennessee 17.
Yeah, so listen. Caleb Williams had 93 yards. That's what everyone wants me to talk about here. He looked out of sorts. He couldn't escape the rush. Exactly. It is a different league. This is also the perfect start for my Super Bowl pick. Wasn't the perfect start for Caleb, but for the Bears. And if there was a little bit of Caleb, this is going to be easy. This is going to be like college. This is a good reminder. You're playing the damn Titans, and you got cooked. But despite that, because the Bears' defense and special teams was so great, and because Will Levis is just awful, and Titans fans got mad at me all summer for telling them that their quarterback was like, why don't you believe in the Titans? I don't know. You guys fired Mike Vrabel, and you're rolling with Will Levis. You don't seem to know what you're doing. The Titans invented a way to lose that game. Block punt, touchdown, terrible pick six, another strip sack, just a disaster. And now the Bears won what will end up being the worst game maybe of Caleb's career. And so do I think he'll be a little more locked in? Do I think he had a few butterflies? Now, I am worried. All three of their receivers got dinged. We're awaiting the results of Adunze's MRI. That's obviously concerning. But I cannot wait for Caleb against CJ Sunday Night Football national TV. And I think Caleb will be exponentially better than he was. And this Bears defense was spectacular. So bad game, Caleb. Great win by the Bears. And the three quarterbacks in recent history who have won a Super Bowl in year 2, no one's been there in year 1, Big Ben, Russ, Tom Brady. What did they all have in common? All had great defenses. So for the Bears, I thought this was fine. For Caleb, nothing but painful film to watch, which could be good for him. All right, next.
You got Houston 29 to Indianapolis 27.
All right, this was one of the most exciting games of the day. Did you see, Damonza, that throw from Anthony Richardson?
Yeah.
70 yards in the air. But he had one with a guy at his feet, a guy in his face, couldn't step into it, 70 yards in the air. Anthony Richardson completed 9 passes, had 212 yards. 9 completions for 212 yards, and ran one in. I mean, the guy's electric. Now, he's not that accurate, and he's going to have some issues, but holy smokes is he electric. And then CJ, surgical. You're a guy, bro. Obviously, you got to give credit where it's due. I can't just make everything just about the quarterbacks. Joe Mixon was unreal. 30 carries, $159. But CJ, deep passes to Nico, and then short passes to Diggs for touchdowns. I thought that was a very interesting thing. Nico's going to go deep. Diggs is going to be our red zone or first down guy. And then we're going to add to it one of the best plays of the day in the NFL. So here's the situation. The Colts have gone on 3 straight possessions. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Now the Texans have gone touchdown, touchdown. So it's just back and forth at the end of the game. The Texans have the ball trying to grind clock. It is, where is this play? Here it is. It's 3rd and 11. Okay? If you don't pick this up, it is going to be Colts ball, 2 minutes left, down 2. 3rd and 11, 2-minute warning, up by 2 against a team you haven't stopped all half. CJ perfect 12-yard pass to Nico Collins to essentially ice the game. That's big time, man. That is big time. And so if you're a Texans fan, got to tighten up the defense a bit, but that is a great win. And I thought one of the plays of the day was CJ to Nico for those 11 yards. You got anything you want to add before we go to the next game?
No, I mean, I think coming into this season, people were skeptical about Diggs going to Houston. I mean, including myself with his personality and everything. But yeah. I do think he's going to end up being exactly what it looks like on paper, with him being the receiver he was. I guess not at the tail end of his Bills season, but you put a great wide receiver in there with a young, talented quarterback, and it's showing. And I think they're going to.
Well, listen,
they'll have a run.
I mean, as long as Diggs is happy, he'll be helpful. And he's going to be happy. A couple touchdowns, he'll be happy. It is still, to me, something to monitor. All right, next game.
Next, you got New England 16 to Cincinnati's 10. Oh, wait.
No, I think
no, I'm sorry. You got Buffalo's 34 to Arizona's 28. My apologies.
All right, so first of all, let me be fair to the Cardinals. It sure seemed like pass interference on that fourth down play. It wasn't a Hail Mary. They were deep in Buffalo territory. This is a brutal, if you're a Cardinals fan, this is painful. It's 4th and 7. There's 30 seconds left. You're at the Bills 32. You're down 6. And Kyler threw it to Dortch inside the 10. And it was one of those Bills defender back to the play, hits him, and the ref kept his flag in his pocket. If he throws it, you're going to have 4 shots into the end zone. So that's painful if you're Arizona. With that said, Arizona did not deserve to win this game. Arizona jumped out to an early lead. Then they simply could not stop the Bills on the ground and couldn't stop Josh Allen. And while I get frustrated because it took literally one day, and you had Rex Ryan on ESPN yesterday say Josh Allen's the best player in the league. Like, it took one day for people to be like, you know what, he is better than Patrick Mahomes. When Josh is playing this way, yeah, he had the one fumble, but where he's running at will and the whole offense is on him, if you're not an excellent defense, you're just not going to be able to sustain it for 60 minutes. Like, players like Josh or Lamar against average or bad defenses can just break the team. And they're going to score 30-plus points. And I thought Josh was exceptional in this game. Now, he started the game without a wrap on his left hand. He left the game with a wrap on his left hand. And we'll see if taking this level of punishment is sustainable over the course of the year. But that's what their offense is going to have to be. A whole hell of a lot of Josh Allen, and that was an excellent win. It's weird to say an excellent win, but to come from behind like that, what were they down? 17-3? They were down 17-3. To come from behind 17-3 and get your season off on a good note after another devastating playoff loss, a lot of credit to the Bills there. I think people are surprised when I give the Bills credit, but I'm just fair. All right, now we'll get to the game you mentioned before.
Was excited I guess I was just too excited to get to this one. We got New England 16, Cincinnati's 10. No, you felt very.
Why were you so excited to get to it?
Well, because we had the gambling show, and this bet was on the sheet, and I said, I don't like this one. It's a lot of points. Cincinnati doesn't start off the season's hot. I don't know how bad New England's going to be, but clearly they were able to hang with Joe Burrow on the Bengals. So,
okay, so you were 100% correct. I had the Bengals laying 8.5, and they lost outright. Credit to New England, because they just said, we're just going to run the ball and play great defense, and that was enough. Jacoby was not good in this game. I'm not going to act like Jacoby was terrible, but they didn't win because Jacoby threw the ball 24 times for 120 yards. But he had no touchdowns, he had no picks, he had no fumbles, he didn't kill him. And the Patriots, who I thought, might struggle to win 4 games, stole one. The story, though, is Cincinnati. And Cincinnati finishes almost every year hot, but they don't have home field. They're playing road games in the playoffs after the wild card round because they are now 1-8 in weeks 1 and 2 with Joe Burrow. It can't happen. And Cincinnati is a team to watch. Higgins, they didn't pay him. All of a sudden, late in the week, hamstring, out. Jamar Chase, they didn't pay him. All of a sudden, late in the week, questionable with food poisoning. One of my hottest takes is adults don't actually get food poisoning. I don't ever buy food poisoning as like a pro athlete is out because of this. They're either hungover or lying. That's one of my general hot takes is I don't think adults get food poisoning
as an adult. When was the last time you got food poisoning?
As an adult, I have never had food poisoning where it's like, man, I don't think I'm going to be able to work tomorrow. It's never happened to me. It's not like there's never been a moment where it's like, oh man, I ate something bad Tuesday night. I'm questionable for work Wednesday. It's never happened. And so when it's like, oh, Jamar Chase added to the injury report on Friday and they said it was food poisoning, like I just don't, I said it's a hot take and doctors might disagree with me. I just don't believe it.
Especially with the way that offseason went.
Correct. Correct. The whole thing is just, listen, is Burrow still hurt, as Wild suggested? Or is he just terrible early in years? I don't know. Or is it a combination of the two? But that's bad news, man. And I'm going to again go to the final play of the game. It's 2nd and 7, okay? The situation is there's 1:50 left. Cincinnati's down 6. If they can stop New England twice, they're going to get the ball with 1:40 because they have 2 timeouts to go drive the field. And New England runs Ramondre Stevenson. He gets hit 2 yards past the line of scrimmage, and the Bengals just can't get him on the ground. He gets 9 yards. The game's over. What? You know they're running. You call the right defense. You hit Ramondre, and he's just tougher than you. And the drive before, man, Cincinnati gets the ball, 3 minutes left, down 6. Supposed to be Joe Burrow time. Incomplete to Yoshivas, incomplete to Moss, incomplete to Moss. Or no, I'm sorry. Short of the sticks to Moss, and now you're punting. Bad news, man. And who do the Bengals have next week? Oh, no big deal. They're just at Kansas City. That's a problem. All right. Let's go to the next game.
It's Pittsburgh 18 to Atlanta's 10. Nasty game over there.
Well, yes and no. If you're Mike Tomlin, you loved every minute of it.
Oh yeah.
The Steelers once beat the Chiefs in a playoff game where the Chiefs scored 2 touchdowns and the Steelers scored 0 touchdowns. They just beat the Falcons in a regular season game where they scored 0 touchdowns. The Falcons scored 1. Justin Fields was fine. Not electric, but fine. And you do wonder what this does for that quarterback competition. But the story of the game, of course, is Kirk Cousins looked awful. Awful. Now, was that first game back post-Achilles? He'll be way better. Or was that, no, man, the guy's in his late 30s. He tore his Achilles. He's not going to be the same player. That will determine the success of the Falcons season. Now, glass half full, this is why we drafted Michael Penix. Glass half empty, because you drafted Michael Penix, you now already have a quarterback controversy 1 game into the contract of your $180 million quarterback. Depends on how you want to look at it. I actually think the real story of this game was TJ Watt was sensational. TJ Watt finished the game with 1 sack, 2 TFLs, 3 quarterback hits, and a fumble recovery. Twice, TJ Watt had strip sacks called back due to questionable penalties. He could have legitimately had 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries in this game. He won them the game along with Boswell, who not only kicks the 6 field goals, but their punter gets hurt. Boswell has to punt and hits one awesome punt. So shout out to the Steelers for the most Steelersy win you can imagine. Next.
Yep. So you got New Orleans 47 to Carolina's 10.
Okay, Saints fans, I suppose you deserve some credit for scoring 47 points. I'm going to be totally honest with the audience on this one. There were 2 games this weekend that I was like, well, I won't watch a second of that. Unfortunately, one of them was the local New York game, so even with my TV set up, I couldn't get away from it. The other one was this. So I've got no analysis other than this is the sign that your team is cooked. If I'm not watching the game and they cut to red zone on your game, okay, and your team has the ball, and I'm like, oh, huge play, the Panthers have the ball, this must be a turnover. Like if it comes to red zone and I'm like, and they're like, oh, big play just happened in Carolina, and they show it to me and Carolina has the ball, and I'm like, okay, so this is either a huge, a 40-plus yard offensive play because they're not in the red zone yet, or a disaster. No, my money's on disaster, and that's exactly what happened repeatedly. And I know people think this is facile analysis, but I just continue to be correct. Bryce Young cannot see over his offensive lineman. He is too short. And I am sorry, but he is not going to be good.
Is he smaller than Kyler Murray?
So
he's not. He's just slimmer.
Yes, I think they're the same height, but Kyler is such a dynamic athlete. He does so much of his stuff where there's no offensive lineman. He's running out to the side. Yeah. Bryce can't do that. Bryce needs to be in the pocket. And
it's time for some uncomfortable conversations for Carolina.
We're close to it. We're very close to it. All right, this is the next game, Damonza, that every time they cut to it on red zone and the Giants, well, go ahead, say the score. Sorry.
It's Minnesota 28 to the Giants 6.
Yeah, every time they cut to it on red zone, I was like, all right, what did Daniel Jones do? I mean, and it wasn't like, oh, what did Daniel Jones do? It was, uh-oh, what did Daniel Jones do? I mean, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs there, unfortunately. He's had 60 career starts, 20 of them, they have not had a passing touchdown. He was brutal in this game. Malik Neighbors seems already frustrated. Flip side, man, it won't last, but Sam Darnold out there vindicating the last 6 years of Colin Cowherd's takes. Cowherd has loved Darnold for almost a decade and won't give up on him. And Darnold was cooking early in this game. And listen, I think one of the better offensive coaches in football is Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings. Now, and this was a game they had to win because if you're a Vikings fan, the schedule softens up majorly later in the year. But can I just tell you the Vikings next, I don't know, half dozen games? Niners, Texans, Packers, Jets, Lions, Rams. Holy shit. You don't have a moment to breathe. So you had to win that game.
That's pretty. And it's tough.
Yeah. Your easiest game is the Jets. For real. And it's Darnold against the Jets. Like, that's got to, I mean, maybe that goes well, or maybe that's a disaster. On the Giants side of things, The Giants' schedule is the following, Damonza. At the Commanders this week, we'll see. At the Browns, and then home for the Cowboys on a short week on Thursday Night Football. I think that Cowboys game on Thursday night will be Daniel Jones' last start as a Giant. I do. Because some of it, he has like 20-some million that gets guaranteed if he gets hurt during the year, but it's not guaranteed now. So they're going to have to pull the plug early. And I think giving Drew Lock that
Tommy
little mini bye is what they're going to want to do. No, I think it'll be Drew Lock. You can't put Tommy DeVito out there either. Okay. I think it'll be Drew Lock. All right, next.
Next we got Dallas is 33 to Cleveland 17.
Yeah, listen, this obviously could have been higher in the show, but we spend so much time talking about it on TV. And so two things. Dallas related, then one thing Cleveland related. First thing Dallas related, I spent a lot of time being loud and wrong about the Cowboys not signing Dak Prescott. I was wrong. I just thought that he was going to want to test free agency, and I thought they would be squeamish about paying him $60 million a year and giving him more than $230 million guaranteed. Both happened. So that's done. That's first point. So I was just flat wrong on it. Second Cowboys point, they looked awesome. And defensively, that's more about Deshaun, more on him in a moment. But offensively, that Cleveland team was dominant in that building all last year, and the Cowboys did what they wanted to do. So props to the Cowboys, a ton of offseason noise, an A+ week 1 game. On the Cleveland side of things, I mean, they're just ruined at quarterback. And once again, we find ourselves in a position where it's weird to talk about Deshaun Watson because just yesterday, another horrifying allegation came out, again, from 4 years ago, but a lawsuit was filed where, I mean, you can fill in the blanks on what you think he's alleged to have done, except this was with a woman he's, allegedly, supposedly was on a date with. So you have that. You have the fact that he might be the worst quarterback in the NFL. Then you also have this fact. He's uncuttable. $172 million of cap hit still owed to this guy. And so if you're the Browns.
I saw a take that said Deshaun Watson doesn't want to play football anymore. He doesn't even really enjoy being out there. And it doesn't look like he does either, to be honest.
So I think that's correct. I think the Deshaun Watson, my shoulder is sore, is a very possible option. He got a little bit of that
last year with that weird time where he wasn't playing. Seemed like he could have been.
Yeah. And so I mean, but he's not going to retire because they got to pay him this money. And I know that some of those aggregator accounts have speculated, with this new allegation, will the Browns be able to get out of his contract? When we talk about how terrible the Deshaun Watson trade and contract was, I want to remind people, his agent got in there language that says he will not forfeit his signing bonus or any future guaranteed salary with a suspension. So maybe they could try to claw some of it back, but I don't think so. And so, listen, it's not as if the Browns traded for Deshaun Watson not knowing he hasn't played in a year and he has 20 credible accusers. They did it, eyes wide open. And this is kind of what you get. So, it is what it is. But that team's offense is broken, and they should play Jameis. But when you owe a guy $172 million of cap over the next 2 years, that's a hard thing to do. All right, last three quickly.
Tampa Bay's 37 to Washington's 20.
Bake show, cooking.
Dagger. I don't know if it was obviously on my teaser, but
Oh yeah.
I think maybe I don't know. I don't know if I wasn't watching too much Commanders football last year, but maybe that's a secondary problem. Maybe their secondary is just bad.
Speaking
'Cause
of,
that's what it was looking like.
They couldn't get a pass rush. Baker was getting the ball out immediately. Listen, man, Mike Evans really good. The kid they drafted, it made a big play. Godwin's good, and Baker was absolutely dealing. These Baker numbers over his last 7 games are insane. Baker's averaging, over, including the playoffs, like 300 yards a game, a 111 rating, a bunch of touchdowns, only like 2. He's been awesome for now like half a season. The sad thing for Tampa is this. In this game, they lost Antoine Winfield and 3 corners. So they had 4 injuries to their secondary in one game. And that's what can really kill you, is those cluster injuries. Those can be very hard to deal with. And having the Lions next week, that could be a really rough spot to be dealing with those injuries. For the story on the Washington side of things is Jaden didn't get the crap kicked out of him and played pretty well. I think 16 carries is too much, but in fact, I know it's too much. But Washington, it's really, how does Jaden look? On that piece of it, Damonza, this is a weird one. Your teaser's a good bet if you're told Washington's going to score 20, and they do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was just Tampa's offense, and Baker was unstoppable.
Yeah, I didn't respect Baker enough is how I saw it, is how I see it now.
Well, listen, I think it was hard to anticipate they score 37 points. All right, let's do the last 2 quickly.
So you got Seattle's 26 to Denver's 20.
All right, Bo Nix threw the ball 42 times for 138 yards. And Broncos fans got mad at me when I said I was not impressed by him in the preseason and that I thought Sean Payton was trying to, trick people and prove some things. I do not think Bo Nix is an NFL quarterback. I think he will have better moments, obviously, than this one. But if the Seahawks clearly said, you're not going to throw the ball down the field, we're going to play man-to-man and dare you to do something, and he couldn't. Man-to-man, single high, heat up the, get after the quarterback. Hell of a debut for Mike McDonald with Seattle. And Geno made one terrible mistake, but aside from that was good. Seattle, a lot of the smart folks like Seattle. They get the Patriots next week. So they can start 2-0. They should start 2-0. And then they have Dolphins-Lions before they get the Giants. You got to think if they can just split with Dolphins-Lions, all of a sudden the Seahawks are starting 4-1. The Broncos, on the other hand, man, it really is a beautiful gift that the AFC West has Bo Nix as a quarterback in it, and then Antonio Pierce as a head coach. Sorry, but let's get to the last game because it had, honest to God, one of the single worst coaching decisions in the history of the NFL was in this game. That's not an exaggeration. Give me the last game.
So we've got Chargers 22 to the Raiders 10.
Okay, so here's the situation, guys. It is, I want to get it exactly right. I apologize. Yeah. It's 4th and 1 on the Chargers' 43-yard line. You're down 6 in the 4th quarter with 7 minutes left. And Antonio Pierce punted the ball. Bill Barnwell tweeted the last 66 times a team has been in that situation, they have gone for it. That's like a just simply can't do it, I will never trust you again thing. It's your first game as a full-time head coach. You have 4th and 1. You're on your opponent's side of the field. It's the 4th quarter. You're down 6, and you call a punt, and then you defend it after the game. That can't happen. Just can't happen. Now, the flip side, Chargers, what a vintage Harbaugh game. We're just going to run, play great defense. We're eventually going to pop a big one. And they end up running the ball 27 times for 176. Herbert only throws for 144 yards, but it doesn't matter. They control the game basically from the second half on. And the Chargers are going to be a pain in the ass this year. I think they're going to be 3-0 headed into Kansas City, or hosting Kansas City, in a month. And absolutely this Chargers team, they have to start the year, Damonza. Remember that last place schedule. Look at this for the Chargers. Raiders, then Panthers, Steelers, Chiefs, Broncos, Cardinals, Saints, Browns, Titans. That's the Chargers opening schedule.
That's fun.
Raiders, Panthers, Steelers, Chiefs, which is brutal, Broncos, Cardinals, Saints, Browns, Titans. I mean, they can get off to an amazing start. And then they end the year, Damonza, with these 3 games. Broncos, Patriots, Raiders. Pretty good. All right, we did it. It's a long show, but it was worth it. Answer a couple very quick questions next, then I got to get out of here. What's right? All right, welcome back in. What's right with Nick Wright? I gotta go. I'm getting texted by Cowherd's producer because I haven't responded to him. We got our show. We got a ton to do. I'll get to your listener questions. We have saved some of them. We'll try to get them to you on Thursday for our gambling show, but I got to get to work. Damonza, great job. See you guys. I'll be on with Colin in about 90 minutes. Be on First Things First in about 3 hours. What's right? Hey, thanks for watching. If you're still here, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes. After you've done that, one more favor. Go to your favorite audio platform of choice and subscribe there as well. Don't forget, we're live every Tuesday and Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern-ish. 10:35, 10:40, it sometimes changes, but that's why you hit the bell. You hit the bell so you're notified. You subscribe so we can get to 200,000 followers. We're right around 150,000. We'd love to get to 200,000, get Damonza another plaque. So like, subscribe, rate, send a rating too. Do all that cool stuff. Thanks, guys.